Welcome everybody to the Pastime Paradise podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron.
Aldrin.
Kahai.
And yeah, we're about to jump into another episode of the Pastime Paradise podcast. It's a weird podcast that's about random things, but it started off as a podcast just about hobbies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So today we're gonna kind of jump back into that lane, talking about the things that we do to pass our time. Because we get into the somewhat weird, sort of obscure things, each of us.
Like hobbies just turn into obsessions almost.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Like we don't have the ability for that not to happen, right? If you get into something, it sort of just becomes like an obsession.
We don't have any control, any self-control anyway.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And that was the thing, like we started this podcast because like I realized that all my favorite people are like that. So we keep talking about getting people like guests on and people that we know that are kind of like that.
Yeah.
And we will eventually, we promise, but
yeah. We'll bring people in. I think we need to have we crossed 10 episodes yet? We have, right? Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's already 20.
Okay. I was gonna damn it. Because I was gonna say when we cross 20 episodes, then we'll do it.
We'll totally do that.
Now we gotta do it. Well, just a little update because it's kind of a crossover hobby thing. So I've been obsessed with matcha for like the longest time, and I still am, and I still make it. But recently I asked Aaron for a sample of what he drinks every day, which is yerba.
Yerba mate.
Yerba mate. Yeah, I've not had good experiences with yerba, but I've only had like ready-made, artificial, full of sugar kind of yerba. So Aaron taught me how to make loose leaf yerba, and he gave me a sample of the stuff that he had. I've been drinking it for the past 5 days now. Mm-hmm. One is delicious. I just like that herbal tea flavor. Two, it's pretty much the same caffeine as matcha, because I got into it because I thought I need something stronger, than a matcha. So what I've been doing is I've been doing my matcha normally in the morning, and then when it starts to wane off in the afternoon, that's when I'll have yerba. So it's like my second cup of coffee is yerba.
Yeah.
But it's been good, man.
And you don't do coffee. That's like the whole point.
No,
right?
yeah, I don't do coffee. So that's why I wanted to try yerba. But from my experience, it's supposed to be higher caffeine content than matcha, but it's pretty much the same. I've reversed it where I've had yerba first thing in the morning and then matcha later on. It's pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. But I dig it. Aaron told me to do it 80 degrees Celsius, right?
Yeah.
And then for 10 minutes. I like the 80 degrees. I tried it at lower temps, at like just to kind of see, Mm-hmm. I tried it at 75. I tried it at 65. 80 is the sweet spot. And then you serve it 10 minutes. I just let it steep for however long. The more I steeped it, the more caffeine I feel like I'm extracting, but it doesn't necessarily make it any bitter. It's such a low temperature that you're brewing a tea at. It doesn't matter if it's like 10 or 20, at least from my experience, because I've done it at 20 minutes and I've done it at 30 minutes. It just makes the caffeine stronger, but it doesn't make it too bitter or anything like that. Yerba's really good. It's got a lot of room for mistakes.
Yeah.
Unlike matcha, where like you kind of have to do it correctly, or else it either tastes different or it's all clumpy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yerba, like, pretty forgiving. So I dig it. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Yeah, and I think actually the traditional way is like that you just keep the tea leaves in your
in like a jar or something. Yeah, like a
no, like when you brew it, you just like keep it in the container that you're drinking it from.
Okay.
It usually comes with a straw that has a filter on it, so you're just like, but I don't have that.
Yeah, people say that they use the same cup, like they just keep refilling the cup.
Yeah.
I'm drinking it right now.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if you guys do that, if you guys have that straw.
No.
It's like, oh no, Aldrin is gonna go down the rabbit hole on this now. Yeah, because there's like a traditional way to drink it, but I just drink it like regular tea because I don't have all of the equipment for it.
We do have to do a deep dive one of these episodes. Today's not the episode, but I just wanted to give an update because it's kind of fresh in my mind right now, and I wanted to talk about it. I was like, oh, it's perfect. It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
And you gave it to me Thursday, so I had it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So about 4 days now. And it's my last one. It's my last cup.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you should probably get, because even the yerba mate that I gave you is like loose leaf.
Yeah.
But that's from like an old batch. I've just been keeping it in my refrigerator so that it stays fresh. But that's not a new bag that I had opened. So
Oh, dude, I'm stoked. So
it'll probably be even better, once you buy your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank intriguing. I want to try it.
Yeah, we'll probably do a beverage show at some point
true.
because I actually recently I think I was telling Kahai I found a website where I can get pu'er tea like directly from China and like high quality pu'er tea. So I've been experimenting. You can get even like small samplers. So I bought like a bunch. Like I narrowed it down to the type of pu'er tea that I like. Within that, I've been testing different, I guess, vintages from different brands.
That's that like kind of fermented tea, yeah?
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, pu'er tea is like a fermented tea.
Yeah.
That's the one that they first gave you in China. When we went to China, you found it? Or
Yeah,
like...
that first time that we went to China, I didn't know what I was getting into. And I bought like one of those giant cakes. And it took me a while to finish it, but I was like, by the end of it, I was like addicted, and then I couldn't really get it. You know, like they sell it on Amazon, but it's not necessarily like the best. You can't completely verify like the origin and storage quality of that because it really depends. You know, because it's a fermented tea, it depends on who is storing it for that amount of years, and if they mess up on the storage, it's like ruined. You know. Yeah, I found my source and I've been like testing stuff out. So
that's awesome, man. Good for you.
Funny.
So yeah, anyway,
yeah. So just that was my quick. I just wanted a really quick update for Aaron and for the audience because we haven't talked about hobbies in a while, and that kind of crosses over between both our like morning routines.
Yeah.
I like that Aaron said that all of his favorite people get obsessed with hobbies. And I just imagine like a normal person listening to you guys talk about tea and being like, that's interesting, I guess. I have nothing to contribute. But then when you guys started talking about tea, I was like, oh, we could get like what is it called? Like a spectral reflexometer, and we can test the caffeine levels of different teas. Or it's like when Aaron was talking about his source, I was like, I have something to talk about with coffee. What coffee companies are good to order coffee from, and which ones take a long ass time to get here. So
that's the top 3.
Yeah,
that's the top 3 like thing, because you can talk about like your top 3 like places to get or brands to get coffee, and I'll talk about matcha, and then Aaron could talk about his tea.
Yeah. So we'll make that into its own episode, or we'll do something.
This is a short little update.
We were trying to figure out what to talk about today. Is like we could have just done that, but
I want to talk about what you got.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those like it can't really wait just because it just happened.
This is your update.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, yo. And talking about updates, I listened to all those songs. I dig it. I dig it.
Nice.
It's its own thing though. So my only comment is it's its own thing. For example, like that Leve song that you talked about and stuff, I think it's good like by itself. But like if we're making comparisons
to the original,
but if I you know what I mean? But if I were to listen to that as a standalone, I'm like, oh yeah, this track rocks. And then it kind of like introduced me to that band. I've never heard that band before. So I listened to the rest of their catalog. Awesome. Loved Cicada.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite song from them now.
I was gonna tell you, if you listen to that album that Cicada is on, their first song called Rift, I was kind of thinking that at the very end, I don't know if they're doing like a homage to Moon on the Water. It has like a guitar riff that sounds kind of similar, and they are giant weebs.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, they always post clips of like, if we made a music video for this song, it would look like this anime. And it's like, oh my gosh, yeah. These guys, I think they're
nerds. No. Yeah, well, that's us too. So, all right. So, what do you gentlemen want to talk about?
Getting back to just like hobbies, the topic of hobbies. This could be from any time in your life. Hobbies tend to be either sort of solitary or group oriented. And so I was wondering, what is your primary type that you get into? Have you ever had a hobby that you took up because you were thinking that it was one type and it led to the other type? Say it was like a solitary hobby that you ended up meeting kind of a lot of people just through that hobby, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And then in that similar vein is like you got into a hobby for like a very specific purpose. You had other benefits that you saw from it. So like you can just like pull on any of those strings from any time in your life.
I was thinking maybe you should give some examples of what you consider a solitary hobby and like a group hobby, you know?
Okay, for me, meditation definitely is like the traditional solitary hobby, right? So like a thing that you get into, be introspective, introspective and center yourself, right?
You've never been to a meditation party, Aaron, where like,
Yeah,
we're just gonna come over, everybody come over, let's just meditate together.
Yeah, actually, yeah. And in a lot of that, there are different meditation backgrounds, like in different cultures throughout the world. And like for a lot of them, that's actually part of it, right?
Yeah,
Getting into a group and doing it and then sharing your experiences and then learning from other people, like, you know, how to meditate better. So yeah. And then I guess like other hobbies would be like sports, you know, that are definitely team oriented, but then in some ways, like you have to really like dig deep into your own self, right? And it becomes a solitary hobby. So yeah.
What is that headband that you're using for meditation, Aaron?
Oh, the Muse headband. I don't currently use it though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking a company should use that headband and start like a Peloton thing where there's like a person who's leading everybody. The person leading is like, ooh, this person, their thoughts are going up. I can see it on the headband tracker.
It's like the complete opposite of like what you're supposed to be doing in meditation. You're supposed to be letting go, but like I'm like only worrying about my stats. Like I'm at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, gamify it, right? And,
yeah. You're supposed to be letting go of self. And
that sounds like something that would be in the show Silicon Valley. We're making fun of it, but then somebody would be like, that is a great idea. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna actually make it.
Yeah. I guess for me, like one example that comes to mind is that when I was in high school, I always wanted to do the thing that wasn't even available, right? When I was in high school, my high school offered Spanish or Japanese for like the language, because you had to take one foreign language, right? At least one of the years that you were in high school. And I wanted to take French, but like nobody, there was, you know, but nobody offered it. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess Spanish then, you know, like that's the reason why I took Spanish.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, I guess in the mainland, it's probably like Spanish or French, but here it's like Spanish or Japanese. Yeah, for sure. In most of the high schools, I think.
Yeah, so in Hawaii, lacrosse is not a thing.
No.
I played roller hockey, which was fringe enough, you know?
Yeah.
Because like Hawaii is not the capital for hockey, right? So
I think you should also state, Aaron, that we live on the island that does not have a hockey rink too.
Yeah, we don't have access to ice, like an ice rink, you know? And so like the best that we could do was like have roller hockey. So roller hockey for a hot minute, it was like pretty popular on Kauai with a small group of kids, and I was part of that group. But by the time that I got to high school, it was like less people were playing hockey, and I got into my head that I really wanted to learn lacrosse. But there were no lacrosse leagues. I don't even know if there are any in Hawaii now. So like I got a bunch of friends together and said like, hey, you guys want to order lacrosse sticks so that we can just like play lacrosse together? And so I convinced at least 10 to 12 of my friends to like pitch in, and we bought lacrosse sticks. So like they gave me money, and I found like a source for like a bundle of lacrosse sticks. They weren't like the super low end one, because they sell the ones for schools and like, you know, PE classes. So they weren't like the really junky ones, and they weren't the high end ones, but they were name brand. And so we all got lacrosse sticks. And then I think I was the only one that ended up practicing, and we got together like a few times. It just ended up being like a game of catch. You know? So it didn't end up being like the league that I wanted it to be, and it ended up being like a solitary thing for myself. So like I got into it to have fun with my friends, to get together with my friends more often, and it ended up just being me like learning. Like I would go to the park and I'd throw it at the soccer goal.
Yeah.
I would have like taken a tennis ball and like go to like one of those tennis walls and stuff.
Yeah.
And just like throw the thing at the wall and it'll bounce back.
Yeah, I would do that too.
Catch it again.
There's like the racquetball side of the tennis court, so like I would do that. But yeah, it was something that it was intended to be a group hobby for me to get into, and it ended up being a solitary hobby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything like that, or like vice versa, you know, like a solitary hobby that you ended up being
Yeah, I feel like it's very similar. And a few episodes ago we mentioned like fictional bands, and the fictional band that I mentioned is from the show Bochi the Rock. And the reason why I love that anime is because when I watched it, I was like, damn, why they gotta call me out so much in this anime? Because it's like a girl who is really introverted. She doesn't really have friends. And so one day on TV, she sees that there's a band. And I guess the lead singer or the lead guitarist is like, oh, I like being in a band because I can be introverted, but I can still like be popular and still go out there and do stuff. And so she gets it into her head to be like, I'm gonna learn to play guitar. And she starts learning to play guitar. And then it flash cuts to like, she's in high school. She still has 0 friends, but she's super good at guitar now. Well, she's like, oh man, I've been doing this whole time, but I don't have any friends, you know, like nobody knows that I even play. So she brings her guitar to school with her like shirts of bands she likes and like wristbands and stuff. And then she's trying to be like, maybe if I do this, somebody will ask me about it. And then she spends the whole day in school and nobody asks her. And then she like quietly like zips up her jersey to be like hide her band shirt and stuff. But yeah, it's like, damn, why they gotta call me out on that? Because I started playing guitar because I had friends who were like, oh yeah, we're gonna learn to play guitar, we're gonna make a band and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll learn to play guitar too. And I started learning to play guitar just by myself, like online, and I taught myself. And then I kept going, and then I found out that nobody else was learning to play. All the people who were like, yeah, we'll play guitar too, we'll make a band and everything. And I was the only one who kept up with it, and I just kept doing it. And then the same thing in high school where, you know, I would go to school and then I'd be like, I can play guitar, I can do this. But then I think I was like the only one, you know, or I'd be like in Bochi the Rock, they get to like play music, I guess, like for their morning announcements or something, and she requests a song and it's like a metal song, you know, that she likes, but then everybody else like doesn't like that or doesn't know what it's about. So she's like, oh, there's like nobody else who likes this type of music anyways. And kind of the same thing for me too, where I like post-hardcore or emo songs and stuff, and there's kids who liked it, but nobody who liked it enough to learn the song on guitar or anything. So it ended up becoming like a solitary thing where I did by myself. And then I think it was really only when I started working for you guys that I could actually take those skills and play with other people. But yeah, pretty much until then it was just like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna play guitar by myself, you know.
But your sister played music, right?
I mean, my sister played piano and trumpet, but it's not like we really played music together or anything, you know. Both of us did trumpet in band and piano, but we just learned it to play piano. It was the Asian thing, right? It's like learn an instrument, so learn piano.
Mine, well, the obvious one, I flip-flopped on my obvious one is playing ukulele. You know, like I wanted to play ukulele because the other kids played ukulele, and I wanted to like jam with the other kids. So I picked it up, but then none of the other kids wanted to jam with me, so it became a solitary thing. You know, it became such a solitary thing, and it became an obsession. And like we said in the beginning of the show, that like these hobbies become obsessions, and I was obsessed with it. And I practiced. I was like, I'm gonna get good enough that somebody was gonna want to play with me, want to jam with me. I went in the woodshed and would lock myself in my room for hours and just practice, and I got good. And I still couldn't play with the other kids because at that point I got a little too good, you know, and they didn't like that. So I'm like, maybe they just don't like me. And they're like, yeah, I think that's it. We just don't like you. But
you are correct.
Oh, I'm glad you said it. We didn't know how to tell you. I'm glad you mentioned that. No, but like eventually though, like the good part is that eventually it became like a thing where it led to like me meeting my wife, meeting all my friends and supporting me like in basically just my living situation. Like that's how I pay my bills, you know, and like teaching people around the world and stuff, and like gathering friends from all around the world. So who needs those like 4 or 5 guys that I wanted to hang out with in high school where like I got the whole world as my ukulele friend now. So, but that's the obvious. The one that's not so obvious is the One Piece trading card game. Honestly, I always like getting into hobbies that I think is gonna be a solitary thing. I don't know, maybe I was like traumatized from that whole situation, that when I get into stuff, it's mainly just for me. you know, if when I play video games, it's like a one player thing. I always just like doing things by myself. Getting into the One Piece trading card game, the reason why is because I wanted to do something that wasn't music, and I wanted to go to a safe place where nobody knew me, nobody would want to talk music, nobody knew I played ukulele, or nobody played ukulele. It's just all like Magic, Pokemon, and One Piece nerds, right? And I'm like, oh, awesome, this is gonna be like my safe space to go and play this card game once a week, go do the tournaments, maybe just mingle with the people there, but just there, like outside of that room. I'm Aldrin Guerrero outside of the Crow's Nest card shop here on Kauai, but then when I'm there, it's like, hey, that's Aldrin, he plays Red Purple Luffy or whatever, you know what I mean? Like that's what I wanted it to be. I like deck building, and I found out that there was a simulator online that you can use to play the One Piece card game, like build decks and stuff like that and test out some card lists, and I love doing that. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh a lot, and I played some Magic back in the 90s, so I was doing that, and I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna like just make for fun decks, bring it over to the shop. And for months, that's exactly what it was. And it's the same people I'd see all the, it was like a pretty tight community of maybe like 20-30 dudes that would come and play all the time. Then there's a guy named Jeff sitting across from me during a tournament, and you know, I've played with him before. You know, it's always just like, hey, GG's or whatever, hey, how's it going, you're playing that today, all cool, and then we play a game, and then that's it. But this particular time, he's like, oh, that song CMJ is pretty dope. I was like, god he's like, song slaps, bro. I'm like, oh fuck. Like, thanks. No, I was like, oh, thanks. Yeah, that's, yeah. He's like, yeah, bro, like, we used to listen to that song, like me. And then he pointed to, like, our friend Jamin, and he pointed to our other friend. And he's like, no, we used to listen to that song, and the song slaps. I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. And the thing that I was scared of, it kind of alienated my solitary experience with this card game, or just my overall experience, I guess, because now ukulele is gonna seep into it. Like, I'm no longer Aldrin, the guy who plays Red Purple Luffy. I'm back to being Aldrin Guerrero again, just now with cards, you know. But it's actually fine because other than that, like, he's just like, hey, I used to listen to your song, it was pretty cool, all right, now 7 to lead, or, you know. And then we just went to, went to the game. They honestly didn't give a shit. Like, other than like, hey, that was cool, bro, he used to listen to you, okay, now you just lost. You know, it was that. And
thank you.
Yeah. And it was great because like now, instead of doing it by myself and deck building by myself, I have found like this community that I can like kind of, you know, hang out outside of the shop with, and I can play card games with. And now these guys are some of my really good friends now. We would train for like regional finals and then treasure cups and like and grand battles and stuff. We had a testing group that would meet up outside of the shop and would just play for hours, you know, and really cool. Just I found a nice little community. It was a solitary thing, but it turned into a tight group thing. Because from that group of like 20-30 people, I got really close with like 6 of them. I mean, I'm close with a lot of them and stuff, but the 6 people in our group are really tight, and I love the fact I stuck to it. I could have just been scared off by that comment of like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, oh, now I gotta find another hobby, you know. But it was cool, and yeah, we all got to know each other, and I'm stoked to make new friends even at this like late stage of my life. That's something that like started out as solitary, and then it became like a tight-knit group, which is really cool.
Yeah. You talking about ukulele, and it's like that you got good at it, and then you thought like people were like, oh, we just don't like you, right? I don't know. I think all of us have that experience though, right, where we get into something and then you show it to somebody and it's like, oh yeah, I'm really into this too. You show it to them and they give you this look like, oh, you're a freak, you don't just kind of like it, you really like it, right? And it's like, oh damn it, I missed the mark. Like, what I'm thinking of is like when people are like, oh yeah, I like magic tricks, and then I show them something and they're like, oh no, you don't just like magic,
you love it. You love it.
It's not just that one trick that you learned to impress your nephew or something.
That's 5 minutes into my 30-minute routine.
Or once I show them like cheating and gambling techniques, they're like, oh, this guy is a weirdo, this guy is and it's just like, I don't know, it is the thing when you're a kid, it's like you realize like there's something different about me. It's like I cannot just get into things normally. And I think it's like you said, like when you get older, I think, at least for me, I realize like, oh, I don't really need like a big group of people though. It's kind of good if I can get a small group of similar weirdos who are just as into things as me. Like when I show them something, they won't give me that look of like, what the hell are you talking about? You know, they're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm into this other thing. And I was like, oh, thank God I don't get that. Oh, you're too into this thing.
That's why ukulele on the ground is perfect for you, man, because you're like, oh, I do some magic. I'm like, fuck yeah, magic. Teach me some magic, Kai. Yeah. And then like the next day, it's like, okay, cool. What are you gonna teach me next? He's like, oh, you want to keep doing this?
Yeah. Kai is like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna show you how to do that exact same trick, but differently, so that if somebody knows how to do it that way, then you can do it this way, and then you'll fool them again.
Yeah.
And then you do that like 5 different ways, and so it's like the same outcome, but like
I think I knew I was with my group of people. I hope I'm not outing you, Aaron, but I think I knew I was with my group of people when I started talking about magic, and instead of being like, that's weird, Aaron was like, oh yeah, I used to carry magic tricks in my pockets too, or carry certain things. And we started talking about like gimmicks or tricks that we know. So it's like, yeah.
I was like, I'm into magic, but like I'm only into metal bending.
Whoa.
So like no cards, but like metal bending.
I think we started using like certain terms that it's like, if you know in the magic community, you kind of know what you're referencing. So it's like, yeah, this isn't just a guy who goes to a magic shop and gets the fake thumb to put over his finger. It's like, this guy knows his stuff too.
Yeah, the foam balls.
Yo, speaking of which, after finding out the whole like fake thumb thing, I can't like unsee it now. Whenever like I'm seeing a magician do magic on Instagram, you always catch the fake thumb whenever they use the fake thumb. Like I can't unsee it. And like a lot of magic stuff that I've learned how it's done, it kind of sucks because like I now can't enjoy magic like how I used to.
Yeah, it's like the same thing where because I'm into coffee, I can't enjoy a K-cup anymore, like, or the diner coffee or whatever, Mr. Coffee. I gotta get the weird, exotic Ethiopian coffee now. And same thing with magic. It's like, oh yeah, the foam trick or the rubber ball or whatever. Now it's like, show me that really esoteric, or I think Penn and Teller, they were saying that when they went to Egypt, they met up with like a magician, and the magician did a trick that fooled Teller, but it was like, to anybody else, they looked and they're like, that trick didn't work. Nothing happened. He didn't do anything. But Teller was like freaking out. He was like, holy crap, he just tricked me. He totally misdirected where I was supposed to look, and he did all these things. So it's fun when you get so deep into the weeds where it's like, yeah, don't give me the normal stuff. Give me the weird stuff. Give me the really, yeah.
Yo, I have the opposite problem. So like, I remember this one time I went to Oahu, met up with a bunch of friends and stuff. They're like, oh, we're gonna go to Buca di Beppo. I'm like, okay, sounds good. That sounds awesome. I love that place. And then they said, you know, we were gonna go to Little Caesars. Speaking of Little Caesars from like last week or 2 weeks ago, like we were gonna go to Little Caesars, but you just came back from Italy like a couple months ago. You probably want something a lot better. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck? We could have went to Little Caesars? Are you kidding me? Where people think I do want the fancy stuff. I'm like, no, take me to Little Caesars. What are you doing? Yeah, it was a group of friends, and they took me to Buca's, and I'm like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that sounds awesome. But then they're like, well, we were gonna take you to this. I was like, can we still do that? Like, did you make a reservation at Buca's? Yeah. Because I would like to go to Little Caesars instead.
Yeah, let's stop there afterwards.
So we can feel full.
Always have some room for crazy bread. Can always get some of that. So.
Buca's doesn't have crazy bread. It doesn't have stuffed crazy bread.
Yeah.
Actually, can we just scratch that whole Buca's thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get the opposite. And then like, you know, or somebody will take me to like fancy ramen, which I do like fancy ramen, but yo, like whatever ramen place is good. It doesn't matter. Like just because I've been in Japan doesn't mean I know my way around ramen. And even if I did, who cares? Like I still like the seafood cup noodles, you know? Who cares?
Yeah. We talked about this early in an episode where it's that curve where you think you're so sophisticated because you only like certain things.
Yeah.
You go over the curve and you come back down and you're like, no, I like trash. Trash is good. Yeah. I don't know. If you're being real with yourself, right? I think it's like when you're into stuff, you can be like, I like the cool stuff, but then I also like the simple kind of trashy stuff too. You know, It's okay. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like Italian food from Italy is tops. That is like, you can't beat it. You know, those tomatoes are redonkulous. But something about that crazy bread. Yeah. Look, Little Caesars, please come back to Kauai. That's my plea, you know? The only thing that I want more than a Jollibee on Kauai is a Little Caesars.
and that musubi place from Oahu.
Yeah. Iasumi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Iasumi.
When you mentioned your card shop friends,
yeah,
that actually led to you working out too.
Yes, yeah. So my friend Basho, shout out to Basho, he was training for the Murph, and then he did like the Spartan race and stuff, and then we were kind of joking about it. At least I thought we were. It's like, yeah, we'll join you next year, buddy. Haha, you know. And then he's like, nah, for real, you guys should join. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hang from something like for more than 5 seconds without letting go. You know? But then eventually the guys are just like, why don't we do it? We should just do it. It's like a year away. We have a whole year to train. I'm like, we're not gonna actually fucking do that, guys, right? Like I was the only kind of 40-year-old in the group, you know?
Doing a Spartan race.
Yeah, like we're younger. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna have a heart attack in the middle of the thing, and then what? You know? And then you guys gonna have to finish it without me. They're like, well, he's part of our group. Can we just leave him behind? Because I don't think he... Can we unsign him up?
As long as after your heart attack you still do your burpees.
That's right. Because if you don't finish like one of the events or any one of the events, you have to do 10 burpees instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm having my heart attack trying to do burpees. But my friend Jeff is like, dude, I'll train you. Like Team Jeff, that's like, oh, CMJ, that thing song slaps. Same guy. So he's like, hey, I go to the gym right by your house. So like, why don't we go together? It's near anyway, and I'll train you. And I'm like, for real? Like that's cool. Okay. I mean, sure. I'm like, I'll go for training or for conditioning or whatever. And then a few months in, like if I feel like I can, I'll train harder and I'll go do the Spartan. And now we're here, and it's May. Usually, like I give up on New Year resolutions because that was like, okay, this new year, I'm going to sign up for the gym. I'm going to go with Jeff. He's going to train me. And then the Spartan is in September, either in August or September. I was like, I have 8-9 months to go train for this thing, or at least condition. And by God, I'm still doing it. It's May, and I'm still there, you know, like at least 3 times a week. Last week I went 4 times, which is insane. I went an extra day with my wife on Saturday. So even my wife is into it now, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jeff. Yeah. But I'm not doing the Spartan though, but I am conditioning just, you know, whatever. Just because I'm 40 now and I just want to feel like I'm 39 again, kind of.
Yeah.
Rolling back those years, baby.
It's like, oh, how do you start training, or how do you start going to the gym? And how much people expect you to say, oh, my card shop friend convinced me to go.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff showed up in like Uchiha Sasuke like t-shirt, you know, like to the gym. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely somebody that's gonna be training me. And then we were doing like, it's like pec flies or whatever, but then instead of doing it like the normal way where you sit down on the chair and then you would do the pec fly from both sides. He's like, no, we're just gonna press our shoulder into the place where you sit down, you grab it with your right hand and make like you're slicing a sword, you know, or like slashing a sword forward. That's the kind of pec fly we're gonna be doing. I'm like, this is the nerdiest workout and it's amazing. You're gonna make like your Zoro from One Piece and just slash like forward. And I'm like, Jeff, you are the man. I feel like Zoro now. Now up my weights to 60 while you do 120.
Is it like, damn it, I'm not a kid. You don't have to talk down to me with metaphors, but keep doing it because it's working.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's awesome.
Finally, gym terms that apply to me.
Oh, I know that movement. Oh, that's what lats feel like.
Yeah. Have you shown them the Yoke Bros Instagram?
Oh no, I showed it to my wife and like, yeah, that's you guys basically.
Yeah. I shared with Aldrine an Instagram account, and I think it's like a comic, like a full-on like blogged comic called the Yoke Bros, and they're eggs who go to the gym, but they're also into cards and like tabletop games. And it's like, was this created by your friend group, Aldrine?
We are the nerdiest gym bros. I became a gym bro because it's like I've not wanted to have that title and stuff, but then like sometimes when we hang out, it's like, so did you meet your macros yesterday, or like, or what? Like, what was your protein intake now? I'm like, guys, we gotta stop talking like this. Let's talk about something else, please, anything. One Piece.
There is a Magic the Gathering show online. I don't know if you remember Day 9. He was a streamer, but he would get celebrities and play Magic the Gathering with them. Mm-hmm. And some of them were like nerdy celebrities, but then, you know, sometimes they would come to the table and they'd be like, I know I'm nerdy, but I've never played Magic the Gathering. But I think the biggest surprise to me was when an NFL kicker came to the table and he was like, I know you usually do this thing where you give them decks, but I brought my own deck. Let's play it. Let's go. It's like, oh man, this guy is not just for show, right? Like some people are like, oh yeah, I'm kind of into that, or I'm nerdy. But then it is that thing where you lock eyes and you're like, you are a lizard person again. It's like, you are that weirdo under there.
So eventually it turned into just like hanging out with those dudes, because like I mentioned how many podcasts ago that like I actually slowed down and retired from competitive One Piece, but I still hang out with those dudes. And now, because like I think I just kind of like hanging out with those guys more than like playing the card game, that they started playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm like, maybe I should start playing Yu-Gi-Oh again, because like they're hanging out and I'm not there, you know. I kind of just want to play Yu-Gi-Oh. So maybe Kai, I might get back into Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. I think kind of like I said too, when you meet the right people, or you realize like, oh, it's not really like about getting a bunch of people, it's getting like that core friends. And I like when my friends too can talk about something and I was like, I don't really give a fuck about whatever you're talking about, right? Like that's not my thing, but because you like it so much, I can appreciate it too, you know. It's like, yeah, I'll buy into it too, you know. Or for you guys, it would be like, oh yeah, I'll try tea or I'll try matcha, but I know I'm not gonna be the person who's like, matcha is my whole life now, you know. I think it's finding like-minded people where you can be like, I am a weirdo for this thing, it's not the exact same thing as you, but yeah, we can still talk, we can still hang out and still appreciate the things that we're both into.
Yeah, that's what this podcast is. I guarantee that like 99% of the listeners are like that for us right now.
What's like a solitary one that you guys are into? I thought One Piece was gonna be solitary, but it became not being solitary. And then ukulele was a group thing and became a solitary, and then became not a solitary thing. Mm-hmm. For me, it always turns into like a group thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think I have any solitary hobbies really.
Or it flip-flops. It can go from solitary to group to back to solitary.
Because even like I would just play like Mario Kart by myself. I'm like oddly really good at that game, and then I taught my wife to play just because I'm like, well, she lives with me and I need to play somebody of my level. So like I'll make somebody like, you know, I'll train somebody to be my level. But then like some people found out that I was really good, and then I trained them and then I started like a Mario Kart group and then it became like a group thing again. I'm like, oh no. But it started off as like, I'm pretty fast, so why don't I just do time trials? I just did time trials because I got tired of like racing the computer because it would just be too easy. So I would just do time trials and I would like try to beat world records and stuff. And yeah, I was pretty happy doing that. But I don't know, somebody found out that I was pretty good at Mario Kart and they're like, oh, teach us, now lead us.
Yeah.
I have like a Mario Kart group of famous ukulele players. But if you're into ukulele, your favorite ukulele player that isn't Jake Shimabukuro was probably at one point part of my Mario Kart crew.
Yeah. You had to add that addendum, right? Because people would be like, oh, you played Mario Kart with Jake? But it's like, no.
No, but if your favorite ukulele player is Cynthia Lynn, for example, yeah, she's part of my crew. Yeah. Or if it's ukulele, for example, or if it's Craig Chi or Sarah Mizell or Abe Lagrimas, you name it. Mm-hmm. They've been part, or Jiggy with Viggy, you know, or right. Like all these people, Sammy.
That's how you met Sammy, right?
Yeah, that's kind of how we started talking. I mean,
4-string boy.
Yeah, 4-string boy. So like I'll talk to him online and stuff, but then it wasn't until like Mario Kart where like we started hanging out and like I'm talking like voice calls. Like it was pretty insane. And Brittany Paiva also, you know, like Kale Gamiao is at one point in that group text. Yeah, really fun crew of ukulele players that would play Mario Kart.
Sammy made a cover of Balatro, which is another video game, and I commented on it on Instagram. I said like one of my greatest greatest life achievements is getting gold stakes on all decks on Balatro. And he was like, of course you would do that, you know? So I'm trying to 100% Balatro. And right now I'm trying to get gold stakes on all jokers. So if you don't like Balatro, that makes no sense to you. So whatever, you know?
By the way, speaking of video games, dude, are you excited for the jungle update? Dave the Diver in the jungle?
Yeah, I guess so. I've been away from Dave the Diver for so long.
Me too.
Like, I'm kind of afraid.
No. I'm stoked because there's a new Dave the Diver coming out. And I'm like, okay, I can sink my teeth in that.
Yeah. For Aaron, can you think of something?
Yeah, solitaire.
Flip flop,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that first one that I shared was definitely like the biggest flip flop, where I had intended it like the lacrosse thing to be like a group thing, and it ended up being a solitary thing. But as far as like the opposite, I have met people through meditation. I did join a couple groups or like talk to people. Another one, I guess, is like the vinyl record collecting. Yeah, it's basically just me and Kahai, right? Doing vinyl record collecting. We started when, like
2015 maybe.
Yeah, started vinyl record collecting. So people have been collecting vinyl records since vinyl records started coming out. But that current wave of vinyl record collecting, where you can now go to Walmart and there's vinyl records of like major artists there, is like, it wasn't there yet. So we started, you know, relatively early in that current wave. It was basically just us. But at some point, I ended up meeting like other people who collect vinyl. And there was actually a guy like that I met and became friends with. I've lost touch with him like after the pandemic, but like even during the pandemic we would meet up and like he would bring vinyl records and we would trade. So yeah, so I guess that's one of those where like, because there's no music shops really that sell vinyl records on Kauai, or at least when we started doing it. So we would just go to thrift shops and stuff, and it was like very much a solitary thing.
Yeah. You know, I had another inkling again of, man, these guys are my people, right? Because in high school, I went to Oahu with my Japanese class. And when we went to Oahu, we stopped at Ala Moana, and other people went clothes shopping, or they went maybe shoes or whatever. And I went to, was it Barnes and Nobles in Ala Moana or whatever bookstore, right? When we went back to the airport, everybody was like, oh, what did you get? What did you get? And I opened my bag, and I think I had 20 CDs stacked in my bag. And they were like, holy shit, Kahai, why'd you buy that much CDs? And I was like, I love music. Borders is closed, so I can't get it on Kauai anymore. Again, it's like that look of like, this guy is a fucking freak, like, right? Like, oh, what a weirdo buying CDs now. Because it was in high school, so people were using iPods at that time, or iPhones, you know? And I think I was the only one who still had a CD player. Knowing that you guys are, it's like, these are my people, is when we went to Amoeba Records in like LA.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, I spent a lot of money at Amoeba. I think at the end of the day, we all like, how much did you get? What did you get?
Yeah.
And I showed off, I got the Surf Ninja soundtrack. It wasn't like, what the hell is Surf Ninjas? It's like, that's awesome.
Moto Surf.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Kwanzaa, dudes. Yeah, and even to this day, right? You're still collecting Blu-ray discs.
Yeah.
Like things that no one collects anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I have a lot of Blu-rays or DVDs and stuff.
Because in this age, we don't actually own any kind of media now. Like if you're into streaming music or movies, like you don't own that. At least if you have like Blu-rays and CDs, you actually own that music or that movie in your collection, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the reason why modern artists have been putting out vinyl too. It's like a physical thing that they can sell, and like even if people don't even have vinyl record players, like people still collect it.
Yeah, I miss like inserts or just like foldouts in general. So like having the physical media and looking through like the foldout and like looking at the lyrics or whatever, like that's like an experience that I kind of miss, you know, with just having Spotify or like you can YouTube everything or like Netflix Netflix and things like that. Because even like DVDs had like inserts and special kind of stuff that goes with the DVD. I used to love listening to like the commentary like on some of them. I know like there's still some commentary nowadays like as extra tracks. Say like if you watch Netflix, it might be like something like that. But I don't know, like there was just something about it, and I loved if a DVD had like more or like different versions of that movie, like a special edition or like ultimate special edition. If it has like, I love the more it had, like the more I'd be enticed to get that particular version.
Yeah. Like I already have this disc, but I don't have the special edition, so I'm gonna buy it again.
Yeah, dude. At one point, I had 3 copies of Dogma. I was gonna say, yeah, I don't know. Like I love just listening to the commentaries, which is really cool because that's a Kevin Smith film, and Kevin Smith started out Smodcast, and then like the other guys did like Tell 'em Steve Dave, and that would be it. It would basically be like a watch along. It was the beginning of podcasts for me because it would just be Kevin Smith like breaking down that movie while we watch it together, and then eventually it would just be Kevin Smith and the producer at the time, Scott Mosier, would like kind of talk to each other about sometimes about the movie, sometimes just about shooting the shit. You know, it was great. So I listened to podcasts because I used to love listening to commentaries on DVDs and Blu-rays, and kind of missed that. But I was thinking of something a hobby that I had that was completely solitary. And I just remembered one. The solitary thing that I'm into, or that I was into, I'm not really too into it anymore. One, because it's kind of pricey, but modding Game Boys. I used to be into modding Game Boys. And it's not like there was a community of modders on Kauai that I could do it with. Like we just hang out and like, oh, what are you modding? You know? But that was something that I did on my own and nobody else was into. And now, like looking around in my office, I still have like 8 Game Boys that I modded myself. But it's just really cool to just look at it and I'm like, hey, I remember doing that, and I guess I could always like take it apart and mod like a completely new one, because you know that the fun of it is the modding part and not actually like playing the Game Boy, but it's a modding. That was something that I got into. I don't know if I tried to get other people into it, but I didn't really care. I just like doing it myself. But I think the closest to it being a group thing was me asking Kahai, can you teach me how to solder, because I really need to learn this skill. If I'm gonna do what I'm doing, I need to learn how to solder. I need to learn how to do it well, not messy. I was hanging out with Kai for a little bit just to learn how to solder.
Yeah, similar vein. It was like same thing where I didn't mod Game Boys, but when you start talking about that, I can be like, yep, I modded iPods, so I get that. I know what you're talking about.
Yo, I think I brought that up. Remember, I was like, the modding community for iPods, man, it's pretty sick right now. And now we were still working at Ukulele Underground, and I brought that up, I think, because the modding community, small electric modding community, would just try to mod like anything and everything. I remember a bunch of them took those like VTech toys that little kids have and put like Doom on it, that game Doom. It's like, dude, what? There's got to be a point where like we shouldn't be doing that. But no, like they just thought of it as a challenge. I think somebody had like one of those fancy microwaves with like the LCD screen, and they put Mario in the microwave. So it's some like really trippy like kind of modding things, and I remember bringing it up to you, Kai, like I kind of want to mod like an iPod, and that was when iPods were cheaper. Now that like people have learned how to do it well, like iPods are actually like on the rise as far as price goes.
Yeah, I think it's all that late 90s, early 2000s tech is kind of coming back, or it's like now it's retro, right? So people are into it. I know like people are getting flip phones and then they're like, oh yeah, kind of weird to say. It's like, oh yeah, the thing I like is retro. And then it's like, I had a flip phone for years, you know, even when there was smartphones.
Yeah, Kahai was maybe the last holdout that I knew personally that was still using a flip phone when everybody else was using a smartphone still.
The only reason why I had to switch is because my flip phone could finally like not connect to the network itself. So it wasn't even a phone at that point.
Yeah.
What I've been kind of wanting to take on as far as modding, there's a Game Boy Color mod that like mods it so that it basically is an iPod, to turn your Game Boy Color into an iPod. You could have like the same UI and stuff, and if you want to like add the wheel like on there, you can, but you can just use the Game Boy buttons to like keep it as a Game Boy so you can still play games on it. Yeah, I think it's Pico Drive. I've been like watching it closely. When the final version of it comes out, I think I'm gonna get one and mod one of my Game Boy Colors. It's pretty cool. It's like a small little cell phone, but it's a Game Boy Color, but it works kind of like an iPod or iPhone.
Yeah, that's like I used to carry around my 3DS and put music on my 3DS instead of carrying I don't know if I had an iPod at that time, but that's how I would listen to my music too.
Yo, 3DS, even the camera feature was pretty dope because you can make 3D pictures with a camera. Not great quality, but it was cool.
Lugging around that giant thing just to like listen to music. Or I used to carry around a CD player and like a binder of CDs. I know people had like the thing where it carries CDs for their cars and stuff, but I would just carry that around normally to listen to CDs.
Because you've never had a car.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's basically just that your mobile car is like yourself, your backpack.
Yeah. In the similar vein of like how you said that you know, it's like Spanish or Japanese and you wanted to do French. I wasn't into like when people got iPods. I wasn't like, I need to get an iPod too. I was like, no, I'll burn 20 CDs with my favorite songs and I have to switch between each of them to find the right one. That works for me.
Yeah.
Man, I miss burning CDs and making mixtapes and stuff. Gotta bring that culture back. Mixtapes were fun. I remember I was in high school and burning CDs was like relatively a new thing. Yeah, my friend Chino, he would take like half an hour to burn my CD and we just hang out like, dude, you have to stay with me on the phone for like half an hour while this thing burns, because if I'm burning this for you, you gotta hang out with me for a little bit. You can't just be like, okay, cool, now do it for me and I'll see you at school tomorrow so you can give me the CD. Like, no, you're staying with me for half an hour on the phone. I'm like, fine, but I get to finally have my newfound glory mix.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny when I was in high school, like speaking of Spanish class, the Spanish class that I was taking, there were a bank of computers. There were maybe about 4 in that class, and we never really used the computers. I don't know why the school just decided to put that many computers in Spanish class. But a couple of them had a CD burning drive, and so there were 2 guys that were in my Spanish class, and they would use that to like download songs for kids, and they were selling burned CDs to kids using the Spanish class computers. So I remember I had like a whole disc of, like, I paid him, I forget how much I paid him, but it was like a disc of unreleased Tupac. Like, I guess he had downloaded for me specifically unreleased Tupac tracks, and like it was a whole disc of that, and
That's dope.
he was like selling them out of the Spanish class.
So that's way cooler than like coming up with a newfound glory mix.
It was like Wild West back then.
Those are the days. See, it always turns out to be a nostalgia podcast, regardless.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about hobbies. No, but it's related, you know. So yeah, that's my solitary thing. I think modding was a solitary thing that only I did and not anybody else.
Yeah. And before I would feel weird being like, I'm the only person who does this. But now I think realizing like, nah, it's okay. Like, or when you're talking about Mario Kart, Aldrin, I was just thinking like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, but then I also don't want to like jump on to, for me, it's like Steam. And then have my friends see that I'm on Steam and be like, hey, you want to play a game with this? It's like, no, I just want to play by myself. I just want to play Balatro by myself. Like, sometimes it is nice just to have something where it's like, this is something only for me. Like, I'm not really doing it with other people.
Yeah, my friend Kaniho like has a bunch of friends that like started playing Street Fighter recently, and I play with them, and I'm just like, this is not that fun, me just beating up on you guys. So I'm gonna play something else now, and they're always like hitting me up, but I want to play Skyrim instead. I started playing Skyrim again just for funsies, and I'm like, I kind of want to play Skyrim. I don't really want to beat up on you guys right now. Like, but they're like, come on, how else are we gonna get better? Yeah. I'm like, fine.
Yeah.
Usually for tennis, if you're a certain rank, you seek out other people, like no matter where you travel to.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. But that's kind of like a super high rank, just beating up on people that are like a whole level lower.
Right. Street Fighter is one of those things that like, well, at least like say, for example, with tennis, you can kind of just like hit it soft and just kind of dink the ball over. But it's not that much fun for that person with the higher skill, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like if I'm playing Street Fighter with somebody and I'm just kind of holding back, it's not that fun, you know?
Yeah.
And then add to it the fact that there's a lot of trash talking, you know? If I'm giving chance or whatever, and then for some reason they get lucky and they get around, and then I gotta hear it, you know, for the rest rest of the night. They're like, oh, I took a round off of Aldrina. I'm like, God damn it. But I was fucking just dinking my dinking my moves. I get to hear it for like 2-3 hours. And sometimes the next day I'm still hearing like, remember that time I took a round off you? I'm like, God damn it. You know? It's like that. So I'm just like, I don't really want to do that. One, it's not fun for me or you. Just getting beat up and like so
and it's not like you're trying to level up on that skill either, right?
No, I mean, like, I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm not super like evil competitive level or whatever, but like if I were to go in an arcade, I would hold my own, you know? Yeah, Kaniho and his friends. Oh, you know who's one of them? Is Daryl Labrado.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been beating up Daryl Labrado at Street Fighter. If I were to tell my high school self that, he would trip out so much. Like, and you're gonna play Street Fighter, Daryl Labrado, and you're just gonna beat him up for like 3 hours straight.
and what year is this happening in?
2026. Daryl, when did Shock on the Moon come out?
I don't know.
It's gotta be because we were in high school when that thing came out, and he's like about the same age as us.
Yeah. So for people who are not from Hawaii, Daryl Labrado was like a music prodigy when he was a kid. He put out albums and he was like on local radio all the time early on when we were kids.
Yeah.
He still plays music, right?
Yeah. I think so. He still does stuff. But it's just funny because I'm on voice chat with him, you know? And he just gets so salty sometimes. And I haven't met him in person yet. And I've just been playing video games with him and I'm talking. And Kaniho was just laughing at him, you know? Like, but I'm not sure if I can laugh at him the same way that Kaniho laughs at him because I'm like, I still one day want to meet you and be cool and play music. I don't want to piss you off so bad. You're like, nah, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? But yeah, he was a child prodigy or like music prodigy. And he came out with 2 albums, I think.
Like Kaniho introduces you and he's like, oh yeah, nice to... Oh wait, you're that asshole who keeps beating me at Street Fighter? Nah.
To be fair, they're the ones who like, oh, Dream, what are you doing right now? You know, like, what the fuck? Do you guys really want to just get beat up on?
Yeah. So you could tell your younger self that this is who you would be playing with. And it's like, you're gonna play Street Fighter with him, but you're gonna want to play Skyrim instead.
Yeah. In a weird twist of fate, you have the opportunity to like hang out with Daryl Labrado and you just want to do solitary things.
What is it called? Like the monkey's paw, right? It's like when you finally get what you want, but then, yeah.
Dude, I remember when his version of Master Blaster came out, like, everybody was bumping that song. I mean, Daryl Labrado was the household name in Hawaii at one point, you know?
Yeah.
And here I am just beating his roster of Street Fighter characters.
Yeah.
No matter who he changed to, it's like it's the same outcome. It became so bad that his goal was just to not get perfected, you know, like so that I wouldn't win in a perfect. It's that bad. Where like, yeah, at least you never beat me perfect. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good like consolation prize, bro.
Because I think he's slightly younger than us. So like the band that I was in high school opened up for him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, at one concert, the headliners were him and 3+. Even then, like, even though he was younger than us, and definitely younger than the other guys in our band, it was like, oh dang, it's Daryl Labrado. You know? Yeah, he was kind of a big deal.
Now it's like, who's calling? It's Daryl Labrado. He wants to play Street Fighter. What does he want to do? He want to play music? No, he wants to play Street Fighter. Tell him I'm busy.
If it was music, then yeah.
Oh, nah, I love you, Daryl. I'm just, you know, I just thought after 30 minutes of beatdowns, you'd be like, I don't know if I want to keep playing this. But like 2-3 hours later, and you're still taking that same beatdown. That's commendable.
He is a big nerd too, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's a big One Piece fan.
Yes. I was like, oh, so, you know, you watch anime? He's like, yeah, I watch anime. I was like, oh, One Piece is my favorite. He's like, yeah, I like One Piece. Lifts up his shirt to reveal like a straw hat tattoo right on his chest. I'm like, whoa, you fucking love One Piece, bro. You're like part of the Straw Hat crew.
Yeah, that's like, don't fuck around with me. If you're gonna come after the king, you know, come hard. It's like,
yeah, I was gonna show you the Straw Hat sticker that I had in my car, but bro, that's commit. You are Mugiwara.
It's like you're taking out Luffy's hat, you know, from behind camera, and then he lifts up his shirt and you just put your hat back, and it's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really nice. It's like, damn, I don't got anything on this guy.
Oh, you got Eiichiro Oda on speed dial.
Like, oh.
Yeah, I love Daryl. Daryl Brown, awesome dude, like funny guy, really cool to play video games and just hang out with and stuff. You know, really resilient, that guy. I thought anybody after like half an hour of like straight beatdowns, you'd be like, can we play something else? No, he's stuck with it. And maybe that's why he's successful.
Yeah.
Because he said that like, how else are we going to get better? If we don't play with you, if we don't play with somebody of higher level than us, then like, how are we going to get better? I'm like, God damn, you know, if that's not the most like honorable thing I've ever heard. And then I proceeded to beat him down for 3 hours.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense, right? Like as a kid,
yeah,
he got good at music just because he wasn't playing with kids.
That's true. Yeah.
He was playing music with adults like from when he was really young. So
yeah, we started out with group and solitary hobbies. Didn't know it would turn out to be my Daryl Labrado story. I didn't know that this is where I share that.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess on that note, like we are way past our time. So thank you for joining us. For people who are not part of our Strandy tier on Patreon, it's actually a pretty low bar commitment. if you want to support us, yeah, check out, what is it, patreon.com/PPPod.
Yeah.
And you get access to all of our bonus episodes. So if this one wasn't long enough, we got extended PPs, extended PP pods. So you can listen to all of our episodes, our extra episodes. If this wasn't esoteric or like, you know, rabbit holey enough, we have even more stuff.
Yeah.
So
trust us, we can go deeper with our extended PPs.
Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you next time.